Welcome back to Siam Smoke Sessions, episode 17. What is that in Thai, Sita?
Sipjet.
EP Sipjet. We are back. We're on the road to 1,000. How long is it going to take us to get to 1,000 episodes?
Oh, God. Doing the math, what is that, like 7 years?
Oh, it's going to be a lot longer than that, my friend.
Oh, God, no.
If you do one a week for 7 years, that's 364. Yeah. And that's doing Christmas episodes, too.
Well, I hope you don't want to be with your family much longer, because I'm dragging you out.
Yes, if we want to get to 1,000, that's almost 18 years, 18, 19, 20, almost 20 years.
We'll see everyone in the future when I'm an old man and, well, you're an older man.
Very old. Very old. Very old. So I've got a question for you, Sita.
Oh,
I was thinking, because we have a guest in Bangkok, but what is the Thai name for Bangkok, Sita? You've been to Bangkok.
Oh,
what is the Thai name? Do not Google it.
Oh, God. I know it starts with Krung Tep, but I cannot.
I'm not going to make you do the whole.
It's the fucking.
There's one more word that you. It's actually the official name of Bangkok and the governing body who manages these things in Thailand says it is obligatory for tourists to also call it this now. So you got the first part right.
Krung Tep.
And it's on every Bangkok. It's on every Bangkok license plate.
Okay. Krung Tep, Mahakon.
Close.
Shit.
Krung Tep Mahanakhon.
Mahanakhon. Okay.
Okay. All right. So we got it.
I knew great was in there. I knew the word great was in there.
Yes. Okay. So we know the name of Bangkok. What are you smoking on these days?
So I've been talking about the wedding cake and the what was the other like the thin mint that I had. So I've been having a lot of minty kind of phenos, but I found out that kind of the genetics goes down to a more like a primary like pure cushy taste. So at the moment I'm smoking on a biker kush, which some people probably will not like the taste because it does taste like you're mowing your lawn. It's got that very, very grassy, fresh like spring taste to it, and I kind of like it. As a nature boy, I like it.
Yeah, I think this past week I had some weed from Infamous. He's a grower in Buriram, and he had this outdoor, which was Criminal Plus, is the strain, and what I liked about it, and I think you would appreciate this, is the terp profile was very pining forward, and it was nice to get a break from like the kind of sweeter smells. It was like very pine forward,
okay.
And I liked that because it stuck out from everything else that I've been smelling lately, terp profile wise. So yeah, shout out to Infamous there in Buriram. He's a good dude.
He's a very good dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, everyone must be wondering why I wasn't here last week. Now, Sita said he fucked up the recording. That's actually a cover for what was really happening. I actually went AWOL. I'm not going to get into too many of the details here to bore everybody, but yeah, I went fully AWOL. I ended up in a Cambodian jungle, freaking Colonel Kurt style, and someone found me, rescued me, brought me back to Chiang Mai, and told me I had to do a podcast today. So I am back, and we also have a guest. So Sita, if you wouldn't mind introducing.
So I guess today is someone I've spoken with on Instagram, and by the way, Bill, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're not hugging trees and screaming at things in the jungle anymore. But our guest, our beloved, one of my guests who I've been anticipated for, I believe, probably one of the highest guests we've ever had. We have Tony from Cannabis Smoke. Wait, I'm going to say it wrong. Cannabisuseonly. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Cannabisuseonly, yes.
So here's Tony, again, like I said, probably, again, one of the highest members of the podcast we've had on. I've seen this boy take bong rips that could kill an elephant.
Oh, just to give backstory, it wasn't on any of your questions, but cannabis use only, the name is because, at least in the US, we have a saying tobacco use only, and you say that for any bong or pipe, whatever, because it's not technically legal federally to smoke weed through any glass device.
Clever. I like it.
Yeah,
So
I like that
cannabis
name.
use only, because I don't smoke tobacco, so I said, fuck it, I'm only using this for cannabis, obviously.
And I mean, this kind of leads off pretty much perfectly into the first question I want to talk about, because it's something, I mean, I'm interested in with your background with cannabis. But could you like tell us your story regarding your probation and stuff in America regarding cannabis?
Of course. So basically, ever since I first smoked marijuana at 14, it instantly made me a criminal in the state of Texas. You know, so whether or not I was underage, right? But as soon as I started smoking, more or less, I didn't have, you know, the parents that would give me money to buy some weed or food or whatever. So as soon as I started smoking, I started selling weed because it would make it, easier for me, subsidize whatever. And I managed to get away from getting in trouble for like 3 or 4 years of doing it, just from being a kid, I guess. But, you know, as soon as I hit as soon as I hit adulthood, basically, 18, I would just get arrested. And then I'd get like, you know, like a year of, we'd call it like pre-trial, where you couldn't fuck up. I'd finish that, I'd fuck up again. Like I'd get arrested. It would only ever be for weed or wax, you know? And then I'd get arrested again. And then I'd be like, and then I'd get on probation, finish it, boom, another one. So in the state of Texas, I've been arrested 3 times for marijuana-related charges. And then the third one, I almost went to prison for it because Texas is really asinine in the way that they treat concentrates. So at the end of it, I was facing 7 years of prison in Texas, and I hired a really good lawyer. We worked it down, to 3 years of prison, and then my final offer was actually 10 years of probation in the state of Texas. But on sentencing day, I more or less told my lawyer that I would be, and this sounds crazy, but I mean, I really love the plant. I really love weed, so you'll kind of understand. But I told him that I could not do 10 years of probation, and if I got sentenced to it, that I would just go on the run. And he was like, all right, well, let me make this last-ditch effort with the prosecutor. Like an hour goes by, and I signed for 6 years of probation. So did that, yeah. That was a little bit of a rant, but
No,
that was
that's good, man. Like they threw the book at you, my guy.
Of course. But yeah, that was the probation bit of it. So ever since I was 14, more or less, I've been having to avoid or, figure my way around the legal system. Simply only because of cannabis, which is why I really think it should not be a crime. Because other than that, other than one petty theft charge I had for stealing a scale to weigh marijuana with
Brilliant.
from Walmart, I have never done any other actual crime. But the system has labeled me as a criminal, and for a long time I felt like I was a criminal, and I just don't think I am.
I mean, like if you put it in this perspective now, especially we've got medical cannabis. So imagine like a 70-year-old cancer patient that's, undertaking medicinal cannabis to alleviate or even heal themselves. They're not a criminal. So like, why are you?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I long have made amends with it, but man, for a long time, I just, when you're a teen and you're criminalized and you go to jail and you have to hang around that crowd, and now like you're labeled as that, you buy into it. You're like, damn, maybe, even if you know what you're doing is not bad, it really goes deep into you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you didn't go off the deep end of it, my guy. I'm glad that you didn't become an actual criminal or anything.
Right. And and that's the thing, man. Many do, and I don't know how to really. It funnels people who simply want to try, let's say, this plant out into a possible life of being a criminal. You know, it really does. I don't. There's a lot to get into with that, you know, in the American criminal justice system, and criminal prison reform is a big issue that I'm passionate about in the U.S.
So I kind of imagine getting to Thailand was, especially now, feels a lot better than the restrictions and everything of America.
Yes. I mean, so I've been all around the U.S. I live in Texas, of course, but I also lived in California at a point. And I've been in legal states. I had full access, freedom once I got off probation at the beginning of 2022. I could go wherever I wanted, but Thailand is a completely different world, and I know that leads into something else that we want to talk about, but Thailand's a completely different world as far as legalized places. And I've been to a lot of places, whether illegal or legal.
So that kind of leads me to the next kind of question is Thailand your favorite place for weed, or do you also kind of miss America, or has there been any other countries that you visited that kind of give you the same experience or a different experience that you also enjoy?
You know, look, I had to think about this for a good minute, man, because I think some friends back home would be upset. You know?
Yeah.
But I truly do think, like, if you give Thailand another year and we're on the trajectory that we already are as far as talented growers coming here, I think it can definitely be my favorite country for cannabis. Right now, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the U.S. is my favorite country for cannabis. There's just a whole world that we don't have here in Thailand yet. But I think it could happen within like 6 months. I mean, just for an example, like we don't really, for the concentrates are still illegal here. Even though a lot of people openly do them, and whatnot, you know?
Yeah.
No one cares. But like they're still illegal, and it's just like, they should be legal. I think most people agree that they probably should be legal. It's just that, you know, it hasn't gotten started in whatever process they have. But so there's no, you know, glass scene really yet. You know, there's all that stuff that develops over years, you know, once something is legal. And that's just not there yet. But I can't expect it to be here yet. So it's not like it's a criticism, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think when extracts and stuff like that are more of a viable and less of a grey area thing, the glass scene, right, the whole dabbing scene, and the kind of creativity that comes along with it, like glass work and stuff, is something I think is kind of massively underappreciated in Thailand at the moment because, you know, I mean, there's a few cool people out there doing stuff that I've seen, and I'm like, that's amazing, but like, I like dabs, I like extracts, so like I'd love to see some cool rigs being made and kind of that kind of side of creativity as well.
I love just looking at glass too, you know. I don't buy too much glass anymore, but just going to galleries and seeing people's collections and stuff, you know. There's a lot of those meetups in the US where people come dab together, and there's like, you know, hundreds of glass pieces together, and they're all real works of art, and you can also dab out of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When I was at Suckham Weed, Beer showed me a really cool Pickle Rick kind of styled bong that he had made, and that was pretty damn cool.
Nice. Hell yeah. Oh, but to add on to other countries and whatnot, so Thailand's great, US is great. I went all over Europe, and my favorite, man, was definitely Spain, just because... Well, I mean, one is decriminalized, so it was one of the only countries where, honestly, besides the Amsterdam, where it was like relatively legal for me to even do it. But it was so sweet, bro. Like they really have it nailed down, and a lot of the people in the U.S. don't realize this, but the quality in Spain is just on par with what the U.S. has. Like hash, marijuana, all that. Everything is on par. And I've been all over the U.S., you know, like they have it in Spain. They have it all in Spain. Unlike here in Thailand, they don't have it all yet, especially in the concentrates. But Spain, they got it all. And that blew my mind when I got there, man. The pricing, you know, it'll vary and whatnot. And I'm sure, like, if I knew more people, the pricing would get better. But, man, Spain's got it.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Spain, especially, like, the past 5-6 years, especially a lot of English people have kind of switched from going to Amsterdam to going to Spain, because again, they've got the weed culture and they've got better weather and better food, in my opinion. And the amount of friends I know that have clubs over there, and like, I mean, we've got Cannabis in a week, is it, I believe? And seeing everything that kind of comes out of that event is incredible. And I would love to see like a Thai version of a Cannabis where a bunch of like all around the world can come together and just have an expo of Thailand cannabis, seeds, genetics, and glasswork and all that shit. So I think from my opinion, I think Thailand should actually look a bit more at Spain for a bit of inspiration than just America.
I agree with that 100%. Because the consumption laws in the U.S. are something that I'm not going to say I hate them, but I just don't like them as much as how Spain and Thailand has them currently. But it's funny I say that because Thailand's consumption lounge laws is a little weird right now too, but being able to go into a club in Spain and consume is really sweet. In the US, there are very few places that you can actually do that legally or in an actual business. But in Spain, they're all over. And again, those are also in a gray area. But in Barcelona, it's more or less greenlit. But I don't drink, right? So I love the experience of going in and socializing and meeting new people and hitting my bong and, you know, doing whatever. I'm like a golden retriever, right? So extra. But we don't have that in the U.S. You know, we do, but we don't have that widespread, or it's not a very permitted concept.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think I love that in Thailand, even though it is a bit grey area, like they're talking about, well, can you have a smoke lounge in the same building as you have a dispensary, blah, 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 blah. But what I loved is, like, I went to Sukhum Weed when I first got to Bangkok, went in and got some weed, and I was about to leave, and they were kind of like, where are you going? And I was like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, there's a lounge upstairs. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? I've not got to go do this in the privacy of my hotel room? What is this shit? And like that socialization is a massive part of cannabis culture. I believe that, again, America can't really capitalize on it, whereas in Thailand it's become such a really cool experience. Like, you'll go into a dispensary and then the smoking room is almost like you're walking into someone's like man cave or something, you know, like there's different vibes about it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy that, man, because it's what I love, or I mean, it's something I really love about cannabis, and it's connected me with so many people because of that environment. You walk in and you smoke with new people, and there's so many things I wouldn't have been able to done, or people I've met because of that specific experience.
For sure. And I've loved, like, again, reasons I say you're probably one of the most high guests is, like, I'll go on Instagram and every day you're somewhere new, or you're with a different dispensary or like some friends that I'm just like, my guy's getting around, my guy's smoking. Like, it's really been, I like seeing your kind of on the street style of exploring cannabis, you know. There's a few people that do similar things, but it's been nice to see someone like very social with it like you do.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited about it. Like every dispensary, and here's something I really love about Thailand too, is it's not mega corporate yet. And I say yet because I'm scared, because it probably will happen as many things do in the capitalist world. But I meet so many people who are just like stoners like myself, right? And they opened up a shop like within 15 days of Thailand legalizing. And I mean, that would be me. I'm meeting people like myself is what I'm trying to say. Like, all of these people were like, oh yeah, like, you know, I was selling weed illegally, it was super illegal. I'd been doing it for years, Boom, it got legal, and I opened this shop up with my friends, and now we're chilling and having the time of our lives. I'm like, wow, man, props to you. I love that. I've met at least 5 people who have that same exact story. Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot of people's stories when I was going around different dispensaries. And what I love is, like, I mentioned it a few times on different episodes, but like comparing it to like a music artist that can like make amazing one-hit singles or like amazing albums, but they can't add their name to it. Whereas now, like, all these growers, these artists, these different dispensaries, they're allowed to be open and stuff. And that networking and socialization is creating such a cool, big culture that I'm like very excited to see grow. Like, I think everyone in Thailand in the weed scene kind of knows everyone. You know, there's not really like, there's no real secrecy or like, oh, this guy's really high up, you can't talk to him. Everyone's like, nah, let's chill and talk about weed.
Yeah, it's so exciting, man, because in the U.S., I mean, like, I'm friendly and I'm nice, but there are people that I'm never gonna. I lived in the U.S. and I had never met Burner. I come to Thailand and I'm chilling.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
yeah,
having a casual conversation, okay? And I met Canis Major. We're talking, one of the top growers in Thailand. Meet him, smoke with him, whatever. That just doesn't really happen in the U.S. You know, it's a very tiered system. You know, you're not just going to meet the owner of the dispensary walking into it. Like, that's a rare thing, very rare thing.
Yeah,
dispensaries are owned by investors, you know, in a lot of states in the U.S.
Yeah, that's why I say like Thailand is a lot more culture when it comes to cannabis than in America and different things. 'Cause in America, it's almost a bit like the same as grocery shopping. You go in, you buy your weed, you leave. You know, and maybe you go to a better grocer and, you know, get a more supreme, better apple, but you're never going to meet the guy that grew that apple. Whereas in Thailand, like, meeting Canis is just like, oh, you're the guy behind this. Oh, okay, hi, dude.
Yeah, he was super humble, and, you know, we shared. Yeah, it was super cool.
That's awesome, man. So leading from that, like, what's some of your favorite places in Thailand to hang out and smoke at the moment?
So, like, I don't know, like, how should we discuss that? Should I just out these places that, like, have lounges, or, you know?
I mean, I know some people don't give a shit, but
yeah, I think I'll talk about it, you know, and then
let's keep it to the personalities. Let's not necessarily say where and when, but is there any, like, people like Canis per se?
Oh, okay. So as far as like session with people, I really love my boy Crazy Roll and Top from Never Not High. Like, they're always such positive vibes. And okay, here's an insane thing. Okay, me, and I know this is cool for me to talk about because he's all public about it, but me getting high with a police officer just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, coming from the U.S. and having been to jail multiple times and da-da-da-da-da, it is a very uncanny experience for me. But it's happened multiple times, and I consider Em a friend now, even though we don't really even, like, you know, he doesn't speak English that well. So, you know, we're not even really talking too much, but we vibe. And what's really weird is he has an extremely similar taste of music to me. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yep, I do. Crazy Roll is such a cool guy. And if the listeners who don't fully know who he is, you may have seen him on, I think, like, Leafly and Asia Now and stuff. He is the policeman bud tender. Some people have probably read the article, but he is so cool. And when you realize, like, oh, he's doing this job that is seen as, like, meant to, used to persecute doing what he's doing now, and now he's also doing it and just chilling. And I can't say how much love I have for that guy because he's such a good, vibey human being.
He is, and I respect it a lot more. It means a lot more to me because he did a lot of this stuff while he was still a cop and it was still mega illegal. Mm-hmm. And there's receipts, as the kids call it.
Yeah. So with, like, people like Crazy Roll and stuff, what is it? Is it the interactions and the sociability that kind of makes it for you, or like what is it like with Crazy Roll and Never Not High that, like, you I guess say lean towards them as kind of like your smoking buddies?
So it's just like the positivity, and it's also, well, for one, with Crazy Roll, he's also someone who takes like a passion in having clean pieces, like just having a clean experience with glass. And I think it, and it's not a cocky thing or anything. I'm just saying it like separates different types of smokers, you know? And so I definitely really appreciate that. And generally, I really will only smoke a piece if it's clean, so I will make an effort to clean it myself. I won't ever rag on someone for having a dirty one, but it's nice to just show up and it already be clean, and just have a nice experience, and not have to change the water myself. No.
Yeah, for sure. And that leads me also to, like, I know we've spoken the messages and I like see your post on Instagram, but I wanted to talk about like bong science and stuff, because I think it's something that like a lot of people don't actually talk about as much. I think people just view bongs as like, oh, you put weed in it and you take a hit, right? And then you have like the 13-year-old kids that are like, listen, well, if you hold it in for like a minute, you'll get higher. So could you talk about bong science for me and the listeners for a little bit?
Okay, man, this is something I'm really passionate about, right? It's one of the dumbest things to be passionate about. But if I ever hit the lottery, right, I had some absurd money, and marijuana gets federally legal, I would fund studies on this, because I genuinely want to know, and there is a huge community of smokers and future smokers, I think, that deserve to know. And what I mean by bong science is just that, like, there is no bong science. Like, I want there to be bong science, because there's so many variables and things that I would like to know, and I guess I'm a little too obsessive about it. But let me just give you an example, and this is something not a lot of people know, but I know in my heart, right? If you put ice into your bong, all you're doing is cooling down that hot smoke and leading it to coagulate and resonate earlier than it should, which, one, you will think it's smoother, but two, you're getting less is what's happening. And you'll notice if you use ice in a bong, you'll get more resin in the neck or wherever you put the bong. And that's all your smoke prematurely saying goodbye, and not getting to you.
Yeah, I think there's a few of these like stoner old wives' tales that have misconstrued the actual science and stuff around like taking hits from bongs and how you use a bong, different types of bongs and such.
And you mentioned one of them is the holding it in thing. Like, from what I have read, and from the studies that have been able to be done, you really only need to hold it in for like a second, maybe two. It all absorbs extremely quickly. You don't need to hold it in for 3 to 5 seconds.
If only 13-year-old me in a forest knew that, so I didn't have to choke to death on the floor. If only I knew as a child.
No, but me too, though. And that's why I think, like, if I, as a 14-year-old, whenever my 14-year-old friend told me that I had to smoke this blunt laced with whatever to get super high, I could just pull up this study funded by me, Tony, Cannabisuseonly, and boom, I'd have the proof right there. Like, no, these are the facts, like using this downstem is the best for this, or, whatever. I would love that. I would love that so much.
I'd love that too, man, because, again, I don't talk about it much, and this is why I'm kind of glad I've had you the podcast, but I'm a massive fan of bongs and glass and different things. And, like, I think a lot of the time as well, especially with bongs, people just buy a pretty looking bong and don't really realize full functionality. Like, there's a lot of different variables when it comes to bongs, like different stems, the different pipe age, the ventilation and stuff like that. And I think it's something that I kind of want to, like, people like you do a little bit of the research and science into people to publicly understand what the fuck they're actually doing.
Right, and all I know now is the result of watching other people and experiencing it myself. Like, and it goes further on into bong science too. Like, it goes into just weed science in general, because there are things that I know about cannabis that are maybe mentioned in some scientific studies but aren't proven, federal double-blind fact yet. And one of these is the power of CBN. Dude, I've known the power of CBN since I was like 16 years old, because I would get reclaim from wax and smoke it, and I would be asleep. Like, I would randomly be asleep at like 5 or 6 p.m. after dabbing like a gram of reclaim, and I'm like, I don't understand how this happens. I'm a very hyper person. I'm a very active person. My heart doesn't stop. And dude, CBN knocks me the hell out, and it is a repeatable fact, at least for me, that it is an extreme sedative, like more than, and I've done a lot of things other than marijuana. It is an extreme sedative, man.
I agree, especially like with the research being done, like maybe what, like 15 years ago, it was like, oh look, CBD, and people like, yeah, we know about that shit, and then suddenly CBD oils are in like fucking Walmart and shit, and it's like, guys, you can look deeper. Like there's so many different, like even just the science of talking about terpenes and the entourage effect is like something that is not fully delved into yet. Like stoners there are a lot of stoners, again, I'm not saying stoners are dumb, but we are, but as well as the more common knowledge of stonerism that we should be aware of now isn't as big as it should be. Like the amount of like dispensaries I can go into and they'll just be like, oh, this is a hybrid and this is a sativa, and I'm like, oh, okay, but like what are the terpenes, what's the genetics, like there's all this science around it that I'm like, can somebody with millions of dollars just talk about this shit openly?
The hybrid indica sativa thing is a big one for me too, because I don't generally believe in it. I believe in certain strains having certain effects that go into those categories, right? But I don't think there's anything. There are quote unquote pure sativas, but I don't think we really interact with them too much, or pure indicas or whatever.
Yeah, most of the time when you go to a dispensary, it's always hybrid leaning. You're not going to find, unless, like, I mean, there is some dispensaries that are doing landrace stuff where you can get like more baseline pure sativas, but in my opinion, again, it's more the cannabinoids and the terpenes that are important than the if it's a hybrid, if it's a sativa, if it's an indica, and so and so.
Right. And honestly, at this point, like people always, and this is something I differ from with a lot of people. People are always asking me like, like, what do you feel from this or that? Like, I'm generally 95% of the time, I'm really just smoking for the taste. Obviously, I'm smoking for the high. I love to get high. But other than that, like, other than me just getting high, it doesn't matter what the high is. Obviously, weed high. But I'm smoking for the taste. Like, I just want it to taste great, and I want my specific taste. That's all I'm picking, usually.
I like to. Oh, carry on, my friend.
I'm sorry. Generally, if it's a strong terpene, and obviously from my eyes I can tell that it's a relatively good bud of marijuana, and usually it'll check most of the boxes for me. Sometimes I'm disappointed, but most of the time it'll work out.
I was going to say, I like to ask most the guests this, but is there any like terpenes or strains that you kind of lean more into? Like, what's your kind of flavors and stuff that you like?
Dude, I smoked about like 60 plus grams of this orange push pop from this grower in Buridam. It is some of the most amazing cream tangy terps I have ever experienced. Like, I'm like not even just in Thailand, but I was genuinely like extremely impressed by this weed. Extremely impressed. It was so, to answer your question, I love orange, tangy. I believe the name is myrcene is the actual terpene for what I'm talking about. Orange, creamy thing. Sometimes it's mixed with like tangy is like a myrcene, limonene, linalool thing or something like that. Anyways, if you know what I'm talking about, it's that orange cream. I absolutely love that. That's all I care about. It's that terp and everything else for me. And then there's like sunset sherbet. That's my least favorite smell, taste, whatever. I hate that taste.
Interesting. No, it's good to know.
Yeah, but so last year I smoked some weed called honey flower. And it is some of the most unique weed I've ever had. It's from a company called A Golden State in San Francisco. Really expensive weed, like $80, $90 an eighth. But it was extreme, man. Like it has, and you should look into this because I'm going to as well. It has osamine and humulene as its two highest terpene content, and it smells like you're sitting next to burning rubber. It smells so bad, dude. Like disgusting rubber. And I love that. Like, it's so foul, bro. Like, in a good way, though. Extremely foul.
I was going to say, that's interesting that they're the dominant terpenes, because most profiles, like, generically, it's myrcene dominate, limonene dominant, or I forget, pinene. So to have those kind of, yeah, I know that's kind of popular as well lately, the more gassy kind of, this, not nasty in a bad way, but do you know what I mean? Like, you want it, a lot of people like stanky weed, like GMO popped off massively, the chem dogs and stuff like that, and then these more like the jet fuel leaning crosses and stuff. Like, I've smelt some, like being at an F1 track. It smells from some weed, and yeah, that strain you mentioned, like, I'm actually gonna have to have a little delve into that. It sounds interesting.
Dude, I bought it because I love sweet stuff, you know, floral, whatever, honey flower, right? I was like, oh yeah, nice. I opened it and I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely disgusting, but I loved it so much. Like, I love some like GMO, like you said, like some real good garlic. I have not seen that in Thailand yet. Some extreme garlic, you know, like, and people who have come into contact with it know what I'm talking about. Like, it smells so strong, stronger than probably any weed in the dispensary. I don't know why, but GMO is just so extreme.
I think that chem dog lineage just, it makes it, I don't know how to explain it for the listeners. It's literally just pure funk. Kitchen, like, fungi stew funk. So, other than like strains and weed though, and I know that you'll have glass, so is it safe to say that glass is your preferred method of smoking?
That's a good one, a good tangent to go on to, because I literally only smoke out of bongs. And specifically, if I could choose, I would only smoke out of a straight tube, a very specific type of straight tube too. I'm pretty, I don't want to say OCD because I'm not, but you know, I'm very stringent about how I like to smoke, because it's, in my opinion, it's the best way for me. So I don't know why I wouldn't smoke another way.
Interesting. In the future, are we going to see some cannabis use only inspired bongs, inspired by your like favorite way to smoke? Because that would be pretty cool.
That would be tight, like a branded one of my favorites. So my favorite bong is a really simple one, because I genuinely believe that you just want as little friction in between you and the weed. Put as much friction as you want, you know, to make it comfortable. But and that's why a lot of people don't like straight tubes, is because it's so harsh. But I fucking love it, dude. Like, all you need is a gridded down stem, a minimum amount of water, and the shortest distance, you know, between you and the weed, and no chance for it to get stale, because your inhalation is just pushing it up while it perks. That's all you need.
So to the listeners, stop messing around with those fancy bongs that have like loop-de-loops and shit. Calm down, my guys.
Like, I fully support people who have those and like them and everything. I'm just weird with the way I smoke, man. Like, I'll give you a story, and it's something something that could be in bong science as well, right? When I got to Koh Chang, I didn't have a bong. I knew I could fly with a bong. I just was like, all right, I don't really need a bong, right? I could just roll joints. Dude, I rolled up like 7 grams that night, smoked it, and I was like, this is like... I had been spoiled for like 2-3 months, you know, here in Bangkok. I was high, but it just didn't scratch the itch. Most days, I only smoke like 2 to 3 grams at most out of a bong. The next day I bought a bong, I smoked 2 grams, I fell asleep early, because you know, like it's so different in the way that it hits me and scratches the itch, quote unquote.
For sure. And again, this is because Bill, who's sitting silently enjoying our conversation, he is a bit of an avid vapor. What's your like opinions on vaping weed?
I think that I should totally do that, and I think that down the road I probably will be forced to do that, and I think it's the better way. It checks all the boxes more or less, besides the fact that I want like that load of smoke in my lungs, and it's kind of a problem. When I had to quit smoking for probation, it was a few different withdrawals, but other than the weed withdrawal, it was me not being able to like take a big hit of something, you know. It's completely separate from the weed and my experience of it. I need to be able to get like slapped in the face by some weed.
Your lungs while you're on probation were like, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck?
It was. No, it seriously was, man. And man, I hate nicotine, right? But I would take, you know, hits from my friends' vapes and stuff because I was just so like I needed something, man. And it's like eventually it subsided, but yeah, it's a need separate from the weed.
I'm glad now that you have your weed freedom and you don't have to worry about these things.
Oh yeah, it really sucked. It was a great time for personal development, and I wouldn't take it back. And you know, it made me who I am today. Blah 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 blah. But it really sucked because again, like I don't do anything else, right? Like I don't drink, you know, and that's not even like a personal or health decision. I just don't like it. I don't, you know, smoke cigarettes or do any other drug. I made the personal decision to not do any other drugs. So when I got on probation, there was nothing for me to do, you know, as far and as socialization, there was nothing. That was my life. So shout out probation for giving me some of the things that are the foundation of my life today, and weeds on top of that. So.
Shout out probation. It can still give you life lessons.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to turn negatives into positives. Otherwise, you know, Otherwise, I would have just been I was a very bitter person for a long time because of it. Because, you know, I didn't believe the weed was a crime. But, and I still don't, obviously. But I was extremely bitter, and then I just had to let go at some point.
Mm-hmm. No, completely understandable. I'd be completely the same, man.
Mm.
So, with all this said, like, what are you looking forward to the most with cannabis in Thailand? Like, what are you wanting in the future? Let's say it's been a year from this conversation. Where are you, like, what changes or even just interesting things are you looking forward to?
So number one, the concentrates. But other than that, I think Thailand's on a great path. Yeah. Okay. So it's hard for me to say this, right? I'm a huge capitalist. I won't lie to you guys. Like I love capitalism, and I see a lot of flaws in late stage capitalism. But at the same time, I love to harness capitalism for myself because otherwise I wouldn't have the freedom that I have today. So it's kind of hard for me to say. I would like to see less, you know, corporatism in Thailand cannabis, and that can be separate, you know, from the capitalism thing. You can be against the corporatism and still be with the capitalism, but it's just a very slippery slope, and a lot of people and a lot of countries and states just haven't gotten it done that well. But yeah, that's something I'd like to see. The concentrates. 3, I'd like to see lounges being like officially legal, or you know, having a framework people to set up a legal one, because I absolutely love lounges and I think they should exist. I need papaya and garlic terps to get here as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Someone have a cut and start growing it. What else? I could probably go on forever about this, man, but I think that's a good top 5.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that especially the lounge thing is kind of, I think, important because not only for like the enjoyment and stuff, but people talk about safety, and like when you look at, I mean, I'm not saying cannabis is dangerous or anything, and the comparison is there, but like in, let's say, like Scotland and some places in America, there are like rooms and stuff for people to now go in and like take drugs, let's say. So that kind of like medical aspect to it as well, I think is very important for like, you know, because if we don't have legal lounges, there's going to be illegal lounges. And then what is also going to happen at the illegal lounges, I'm not saying like all of them are going to just decide to like set up a gambling ring or something, but we have kind of already seen that happen with some places. So I think it would be more of a smarter way for them to look at the situation. Like, actually, it would be smarter because then, like, if we do need to check out these places, it's all in one place. And it's going to be more uniformed, more kind of controlled and healthy. And I think that's an outlook hopefully the Thai government will realize. Right.
And to add on to that, I think it's a like I'm advocating for it, but it doesn't even really change too much for me because I don't smoke outdoors because I can't really smoke a bong outdoors. I mean, I guess I could, but it'd be kind of obscene.
Yeah.
I smoke indoors anyways. I'm going to smoke indoors, whether or not I'm going to smoke inside a place. It's the people that are smoking joints and whatnot that are really changed by this, because I know a lot of people that smoke joints that would, like, so many people would be smoking outdoors is what I'm saying if it was truly illegal to not smoke in a lounge, because everyone would just be smoking joints outdoors, and I'm not sure the Thai government wants that.
Oh yeah, for sure. They definitely don't want that, I think.
Right. So, I mean, as long as there's lounges, like I have a lot of friends that go to lounges and smoke joints, which I think is so funny because honestly, if I smoked joints, I would probably just smoke it outside my condo. But yeah. Like
Yeah, Anutin, if you happen to be listening, please take this into the kind of conversation of things. Keep our lounges, we want them.
You need them for what you've already done.
Sorry, I like bringing up Lord Anutin to the listeners because people know I'm a massive simp for that lovely cannabis hugging man.
So that's sweet. I am too, man. Shout out him.
So we've had a good conversation. Bill, do you have any questions for our good friend Tony?
Oh, my wife just brought me Pat CU here, so carry on, fellas.
How dare she? How dare she feed you while we're talking? You lucky bastard.
Dude, I'm gonna go get some food after this. That's very exciting now.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question then. What food are you gonna get? What's your favorite munchy food?
Okay, dude. So I was like sick for like a week here, and I was just ordering a bunch of Grab. Man, so I'm trying to think right now. I really love bento boxes and stuff. I love a lot of different types of foods, and oh man. So,
Wait, what's your favorite food?
okay.
It's like you need to pick one.
You're on a desert island. There's also a gun to your head. You're also starving. What are you craving?
Oh, okay. It's my mom's ganjo. It's literally translated into sour soup, but it's like this soup that's like slightly sour, but like with a bunch of other savory things in it, and usually shrimp or beef. Ganjo. It's a Vietnamese dish. Amazing, dude. And it's a Vietnamese dish that is not popularized yet, right? So when I was growing up, pho wasn't really a popular thing or whatever, but ganjo has not been touched by any mainstream whatever. Try it.
Damn, if we've got any like capitalistic...
You heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you heard it here first. And it's not even something that I hear. It's like a very specific dish too. So my family's from Hue, like the center region, the country region of Vietnam. And man, the ganjo, dude, is so fucking good. Like I'm trying to I can't compare it to anything right now. Yeah.
Everyone needs to go try it.
It's a real light. It can be a very light soup, or like a medium, but it's not too heavy of a soup.
Well, that's added to my list of things I need to get fat on. So, thank you for that. And talk.
I'm gonna look this up.
Just as well, since you brought up Vietnam and stuff, did you like ever smoke weed over there? What's the scene like over there? I mean, I know it can get a bit darker when we get further out of Asia than Thailand, but
right. Oh, so I was born in Vietnam, right? And I went back when I was like 7 or 8 or so. But funny enough, I have not been back, even though I'm so close. Oh man, I love Thailand so much. I'm gonna go to Vietnam, sometime in like May or June. But as of right now, I'm chilling in Thailand. I love Vietnam. I love my people, all that. And I speak the language fluently, so I should totally be over there. But I really can't miss out on all this first year of legalization. It's so exciting. So that's why I'm not there yet.
No, let's hope Vietnam sees how well things go with Thailand and stuff, and hopefully in the future, even more countries like Vietnam and stuff will be a lot more lenient and accepting of such things.
Oh, fingers crossed, dude. If they legalize, you heard it here first, there's a cannabis use only business. opening in Vietnam, 100%.
Exclusive news. You've heard it here, folks.
100%, man.
No, it has been perfect, man. And like, thank you for coming on and talking and giving your story and talking about all these different aspects you're passionate about. It means a lot. And like, following you on Instagram, like, I knew I kind of like was like, people need to listen to this guy. He's interesting as fuck.
Thank you, dude. I don't think anyone needs to listen to me. I think
Well, you're in luck because there's going to be like at least 1,000 people downloading this episode, dude.
They're gonna have to listen now.
Force. Nice. Dude, did you guys, I don't know if you guys watch combat sports, man, but I'm still buzzing from John Jones beating the brakes off of Cyril Gane for the heavyweight championship today. This was insane.
I caught up earlier and
I heard about it.
Yeah, I caught up earlier and I was like, well, shit. I've not watched it yet, but I can't wait.
Oh man, made my day. I just can't even believe it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think
I still, that's the only thing that I have like thought about. Other than this, like I just am so appalled that it happened.
No, I think combat sports are very connected with cannabis. Shout out to the Diaz brothers for making things very entertaining with combat sports and cannabis, and the fact that I believe now in the UFC, it is off the banned drug substance list. Is that correct? I can't remember.
That's correct. You can smoke weed all you want.
That's dope. I saw a TikTok the other day of a jiu-jitsu tournament, and there was just two guys on the side of the mat smoking a joint before they were about to go play. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
No, but like, this has been perfect, man. Have you got anything you want to tell the listeners? Anything you're excited about, or anyone you want to shout out? Anything like that?
Oh, that's tough. I'm gonna, man, this is conceited. I'm gonna shout out my travel youtube.com/@TonyDoesWhatever. I do other things other than weed. I collect vintage t-shirts as well, but that's my little vlog thing. I haven't released too many things. I love making videos, but at the same time, it is a struggle making a long vlog. But yeah, check them out. They're pretty decent, I think. My one in Switzerland was pretty cool.
I caught up on a few of your videos last night before this, and yeah, I like your channel, so everyone go check it out. You're a cool guy, and I think everything that you get involved in, you bring this like very positive and happy vibe to.
Oh yeah, thanks, dude. Oh man, did you guys see my profile picture? I didn't even realize.
That's how I realized you were the right profile when I added you. As soon as I saw dabs of oil, I was like, yep, that's Tony.
Yes, wow, I've had this for like professional calls and stuff. That's hilarious.
If there's any high up businessmen that recognize this voice, realize he's a cool stoner. You're done now, bro.
I love it.
No, but thank you, man, and like thank you for coming on. Bill, do you have any kind of last words? Have you done shoveling food into your face?
I'm slow eating this one. No, it's good to have you on, man. Yeah, I'm glad Sita, was able to connect with you. Anytime you want to come back, please do. We'll put your links in the show notes so people can find your video. I'm going to check that out. I saw the YouTube, but I didn't watch the videos yet, so I'll check that out here this evening.
No obligation, dude. No obligation.
If you, no. We'll put it in the show notes, and then if you ever get up to Chiang Mai, let me know.
Sure.
Hit me up.
Awesome, will do, brother.
For sure, man. I do hope like one day all the three of us here can do a Siam Smoke Session in person, and you can show us some of that bong science in action.
Bro, I would be honored. Seriously, I love doing it.
No, it would be an honor for us too, man. So I'll end this here with a thank you for everyone to listening, and a big thank you, Tony, for coming on the show and again sharing your story. Again, everyone go check him out. He's a vibey, lovely human being. So yeah, thank you again, Tony, and we'll speak again soon. And this has been Sita from the Siam Smoke Session, and I will say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sita. Goodbye. Kapung kap.